I'm Baked Beans, and I've been gone for a while. I'm going to talk to you just as a person, not as a content creator, not as someone who is an influencer or anything like that, just as a person on a personal level. You might notice that this is the first video that I posted for a good while, and that's because currently the world sucks. I mean, just looking outside and looking at any news article these days is incredibly miserable, and I get affected by this a lot. So look, if you're here for my content where I do game development and coding or stuff like that, this isn't the video for you. You can go along about your day and I'll return to making those videos sometime in the near future. I've currently got exams coming up, they're taking up most of my time, but once those are done, I should be back to making the game. But for the moment, all of that stuff is on pause because my exams take priority. And to those who are actually left, welcome. This is where I become more of a person. Um, I'm not actually used to doing videos like these. These are unscripted and just coming straight off from my head. So if I make mistakes or things are wrong about this, please feel free to correct me, educate me, because at the end of the day, I'm human just like you and we all make mistakes. So yeah, the world sucks. I've never actually introduced myself, but my name is Brie. I'm a trans woman. It feels weird to actually finally officially say that to people, especially on the internet, considering how bad the internet is currently. But yeah, I'm trans. And when it comes to being trans in today's society, it's not looking good for anywhere. I live in the wonderfully gloomy, but currently incredibly sunny country of the UK. And if you know anything about the UK, its gender laws and stuff like that are going in the bin. We got TERFs, we've got JK Rowling, and we've got hundreds of other people who are completely against any kind of gender rights for trans people. It is bad enough trying to be trans and live with yourself in any day and age. But especially in today's society where so many people online, in person, and those in power are against your very existence, it can kind of get incredibly depressing and just a miserable time to be alive. I know quite often when I post my videos, they're incredibly silly. I'm doing game development and completely ignoring the world because when it comes to my shorts, I don't like to bring into politics about them. I don't like bringing up the fact that I hate the world or stuff about me that's incredibly personal because shorts have a much greater reach and I don't see the need in everyone on the internet knowing everything about me. I like keeping myself personal. But in these, when I have to complain about stuff, I feel like you guys have to know why and where this complaint is coming from. But back to it, the UK. We have this wonderful, wonderful party here called Reform UK, led by the main man himself, Nigel Farage. Yes, the same guy who did all the big chungus stuff back a while ago on the internet. His party, Reform UK, are incredibly bad and incredibly far right. Think Donald Trump, but he's some old white guy who goes to the pub every other week. His stances on LGBTQ rights, migrants, and racism are incredibly far right, wanting to get rid of those kind of rights that protect the livelihoods of people. And for a country where those rights are already scarce, it's incredibly concerning to think that the little rights that we still have could get abolished. I mean, waking up in the morning is kind of miserable. I was doing a project for a while where I was looking into stuff regarding single-sex spaces and trans people in the UK, and it was quite miserable waking up first thing in the morning, and all I would see is new articles where trans people are being excluded or removed from society or discriminated against or anything else. Because, and I know I sound like a broken record here, the world sucks. For any trans person out there, I I will always sympathize with anyone who has to face any kind of discrimination because, on a personal level, I understand how hard that can be. Being excluded from literally society, from living your own life just because of something that you can't control, it ruins you. It's a miserable thing. And on a personal level, things like gender dysphoria are incredibly limiting to me. There are days where I look at myself in a mirror and things just feel so bad. I feel so uncomfortable living in the skin that I live in, having to be biologically a male. It makes me incredibly depressed and unmotivated to do anything because if I can't live my life the way I want to, I don't really want to live it. And I know that sounds like quite a depressing thing, and it is. But the fact that I personally have to deal with a thing like that on a day-to-day basis and then deal with society and people in power and things like that being incredibly exclusionary towards my way of living, you can imagine how bad that gets to any trans person online. But going just beyond gender itself, the world, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist or someone who studies politics and everything else like that to look at the world and go, ah, there is a problem here. The biggest example that I can think of personally is Donald Trump at the moment. Yes, the big Donny T, the one who gets you shot down for even mentioning his name in a bad context. Do not feel that man because I live in the UK. There's nothing he can do to me. The man is, well, he's something. Looking at what he has done in especially his second presidency is kind of crazy to me. There just seems to be a continuous escalation of things to cover up what he's done prior. I mean, in the beginning, it was just, "Oh, look, the Gulf of Mexico has now become the Gulf of America. What a crazy thing that is." And now in today's society, there's like, "Oh, there's this big war that's going on." The progression of the Gulf of America things happening, then tariffs and Epstein files, and now this war. The guy has so many felonies against him and so many things that have been accused against him, but nothing has happened to the guy. He has essentially become a dictator in the US. There's no one who is able to oppose him or no one who's willing to oppose him. I think if someone did try, it'd be incredibly easy to shut them down or buy them out. And I could be wrong. I am just a person. I haven't done as much research as any political scientist out there. I could be incredibly wrong. This is just my opinion and my voice because from where I stand on the internet, I find way too many loud, outspoken right-wing people, and it's all the time. The people who are on the left and the people who seem to care about equality and equal rights continuously get silenced. I wouldn't be surprised if this video gets suppressed and it reaches about 20 people. I mean, I know my long forms don't exactly do well, but considering my platform, which again is incredibly small in the wide range of things, but I wouldn't be surprised if this does get limited by YouTube itself because that's just the way that the internet is. The right-wing voices get to speak a whole lot louder unless you're on the left-wing sides. It's all algorithms, and algorithms suck because it just grabs your attention and keeps you clicking for as long as you can. But yeah, for the hopefully final time this video that I have to say this, the world sucks. So when it comes to me and my channel, don't be surprised if I'm not posting for a while, because you can usually tell if the world is getting bad, I won't be posting because I'll be tired or unmotivated or I just won't be bothered to do stuff because the world just gets me down. And I'm honestly okay with that because I'd rather be informed than blissfully ignorant. I do go out and seek these things to find out what is wrong with the world so that I know what's wrong and am able to prepare it. Having said all that, I want to share more of my views because again, there's so many outspoken right-wing people, and can never find anyone who is left-wing. I'm starting a quote-unquote podcast with my friends. You don't have to listen to it. It is just another white people sitting down in a room podcast, and the world does not need any more of these. However, I think it's incredibly important because both me and my friends are incredibly young, and when you see a podcast, it's usually older people speaking about things, and the voice of the youth isn't all that heard of. So whilst I'm working on this podcast with my friends, I'll be uploading all the videos to here and maybe Spotify if I can work that out. But in the meantime, keep everyone who watches this, keep yourself safe. You are an incredibly important person. Don't forget the strength that people have themselves. Don't forget the love that you can have for yourself and others. And at the end of the day, no matter what any politician or person online or anyone in your life says, we are all people at the end of the day. You should love everyone equally. That's essentially all from me. I've been Date Greens, your local idiot on the internet, who really should be coding and revising for exams right now, but I can't be bothered. So I'm making this instead. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed any of this. I'm really not fussed. This has just been a chance for me to vent out my frustrations of the world and just share a view that doesn't get shared very often. So I will see you in the next one.